The October 13th Panama City Planning meeting now is in order. Please take roll.
Board Member Carroll.
Here.
Board Member Stamps.
Here.
Board Member Parker.
Here.
Board Member Rich.
Here.
Chairman Newpower.
Here. Are there any changes or deletions to the agenda?
Nope, we can move forward with the agenda as it's been originally published.
All right. Are there any announcements or disclosures from board members? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the September 8, 2025 meeting?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion second. Please take roll.
Board Member Carroll.
Yes.
Board Member Stamps.
Yes.
Board Member Parker.
Yes.
Board Member Rich.
Yes.
Chairman Newpower.
Yes. I'll now read the procedure for quasi-judicial proceedings, which are items A, B, and C. Step 1, public hearing announced, introduction of application by staff. Step 2, ex parte communication disclosure by board members. Step 3, identification of applicant and affected parties that intend to participate in the hearing. Affected parties that only intend to make a statement may do so at the public participation part of the agenda. An affected party means any person or entity that will suffer an adverse effect to an interest protected or furthered by the ULDC, including interest related to health and safety, police and fire protection, service systems, densities or intensities of development, transportation facilities, healthcare facilities, equipment or services, and environmental and natural resources. The alleged adverse interest may be shared in common with other members of the community at large, but must exceed in degree the general interest in community good shared by all persons. Now turn to council to swear any witnesses that need to make a statement.
At this time for item A, if you wish to testify on this, please go ahead and stand and raise your right hand, and I'll swear in all staff at this time as well. Staff, you'll remain under oath during the entire proceedings. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and if you do feel you need to speak after I've sworn in people, please just come to the podium and I'll swear you in at that time.
Thank you. All right, requests. Letter A.
All right, item A, case number 1190. It is a variance. The applicant is requesting a variance from the setback regulations established by section 104-31, mixed use 2 zoning district of the City of Panama City Unified Land Development Code. The owner and applicant is Lucian Dragita. The address is 4403 West 19th Street, and staff is recommending denial.
Any questions for board members from staff? For staff? All right. Is the applicant here wish to speak on this item?
Is the applicant here?
So, yeah.
Oh, here it is. Okay. So,
Sir, will you raise your right hand? Okay. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, so
And your name and address for the record. Name and address.
my name is Simon Dragita. I'm the owner contractor of the lot situated on 4403 West 19th Street, and I was requesting the board to have allowance for 3 extra feet for the driveway to be extended. And I have here a picture I took from the garage to the edge of the sidewalk, which was 20 feet. And as you can see in the picture, the truck itself is 19 foot. So it's like a quarter, like 2 feet of the back of the truck is gonna kind of sit in the sidewalk. So I was asking the board if I could get an additional 3 feet so the house could sit more towards the back.
so is the truck, is that on backing into 19th Street or is it?
Yes,
That's on
it's from
19th
the
Street.
19th Street, yes, and like
Okay.
where the back tire is like a foot of the truck is kind of gonna sit in the sidewalk.
Is the property now a dirt lot? Is it cleared? Is that correct?
Yes, it's just
Okay.
dirt, there's nothing there.
Okay.
It's just dirt, but it's like the back of the truck, it's like when you walk on the sidewalk, it's like really like the truck is gonna be like right here or
I
something.
got you. So that photo is representative of where the sidewalk and
Yes.
park. Okay, I got you.
Yes. The truck itself, it's 19 feet. So 20 will be like a 6-inch between the garage and the front bumper and 6-inch between the back bumper and the sidewalk. So I was thinking like 1.5 feet to go in between the front bumper and the garage door, and another 1.5 feet between the bumper and the sidewalk. So a total like of 23. The drawing, I want to mention the drawing that I made over there is actually the old plan where the architect put it on 17 feet. And I went with horizontal planning and I asked him if we could go to the max setback, which is 20 foot as per my discussion with Mr. Orlando. And he said, Simon, you can do that. And I measured, I put a stake at 20 feet and still it's not enough. So I was asking respectfully for another 3 feet, which will give me 1.5 feet for the front between the garage door and the truck, and another 1.5 feet between the bumper and the sidewalk.
This rear part of this side is just a patio?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, I'm sorry. I was looking at the back setback. I'm sorry, yes, the front is, yeah.
Okay, and this is the patio right here?
Yeah, that's the patio. I'm sorry. Yes, actually, yeah, the front from the 19th Street to the garage. Yes, I apologize. I would like it to be 23 feet because the truck is 19. So right now, the plan that I submitted is on 20 feet, which is 6-inch in the front and 6-inch between the sidewalk and the back of the truck.
What does the property back up to? What's behind you?
It's a neighbor's fence, which is actually oriented towards Danforth. Yes, that's right. Yes, 1821, it's facing Danforth Avenue.
Is the rear patio a covered patio under roof?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So I guess this may be.
I was asking about 1819, is it at the backyard? Wouldn't that be the backyard?
So you're just asking for relief on this rear setback, correct? So you can.
That's what the request is, yeah.
His house faces this way? It faces that way?
It faces this way. That
Yeah.
faces that way.
Yeah, okay, the side yard in, okay, yeah, I saw that.
But yeah, I think your question was the relief we're looking for has really nothing to do with the front. It's
Rear, so the house.
It's really, it's the 17 feet versus the 20 feet.
Yes.
I understand what, I just.
Yes.
Is that correct, Joanna?
Yeah, I got you,
Yes, so what the request that was submitted, it's the 3 foot of relief from the rear setback.
Okay. So
Side yard, if you side yard.
if it's at 20 or 23 in the front.
Yes.
That's kind of irregardless of what our request is, but he's saying if it's at 23, that pushes the whole thing back to 17, so.
Yeah, that's my understanding, and staff's main concern here, particularly with,
His house faces 19th Street, is that what he said? So this would be the backyard. Okay. What is back here? So that's what I was curious.
What's staff's concern?
That's the side yard, because that one faces that way, so it's the side yard. Okay.
To the right or to the left? You talking about? To the right, there's like a city building, like I think a water treatment or something like that to the right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the city, Joanne, what's the?
so the main issue that staff had with this request and the reason for recommending denial is simply that we believe that it is a design issue as reflected per the staff report. So we're not saying that there are no challenges to be overcome. It's just based on staff's recommendation, we believe that reconfiguration of the site plan and design of the development can better remedy this issue. And we say this because based on the information provided in the variance application, we're unable to see where the applicant has sufficiently justified the variance request. So this is the reason for denial.
Joanne, the hardship requirement is not supposed to be caused by the applicant, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Was the plans already drawn up?
Say that again?
The plans are already drawn up, the architect's already drawn everything?
Yes, and
And when did you come to the conclusion, oh, this needs to be farther away from the sidewalk?
exactly.
Was it
when I
after the fact?
Yeah, when I parked the truck and I put like a stake right here, like which represent 20 feet, like is on the plan
Okay.
that has been submitted, I realized like the back of the truck is on the sidewalk. Would you like to see this picture?
No, I see it.
Yeah, so, I mean,
I
a
mean, this
small.
wasn't something you had drawn up and say, no, I'm just going to do it, and.
No.
It was something that after the fact, you're looking at this. I mean, I kind of agree with the fact that if a truck backs up that close to the sidewalk,
Yes.
somebody's walking or coming
Yeah.
down with a bicycle.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
it could be, you know, it could be an accident waiting to happen. So that's my outlook on the thing.
What is I see the side, you have a reference to 5 feet. Is that 5 feet side setback or is it 5 feet from the property line on both sides?
Yes,
33 on one and 5 on the other,
yes,
correct?
yes.
But Joanne, I think your point is if you were to change the shape of the building, you get the same square footage, but you're not.
Yes, again, yeah, staff has yet to see evidence provided by the applicant that indicates that this cannot be overcome through design and through reconfiguring the site. Of course, if that information was provided, our recommendation may have been different, but based on the justification provided, we still fail to see how this warrants varying from the code.
Is there anybody here to speak against
Is
this?
there any other questions for the applicant?
Oh,
Okay. See if there's anyone else here to speak on this item. Is anyone else here to speak on this item? Okay. I guess my concern is practicality. You can build a house like this and then just block the sidewalk. So,
Pretty much. Yeah,
I mean,
pretty much.
is the effect of moving it back 3 feet on the back or the side yard of the other person going to do anything to?
yeah. I mean, that's, but
No.
may go to we can staff.
Can I say something? So in the picture, if you look at this facility building, I think it's a Comcast building. I measured it from here to actually the edge of the sidewalk. They actually have like 25.8, if I remember correct. And the house next to it, I don't know exactly what number it is, I think they have like, it's set even further back. They probably have like 30 measured from the sidewalk in. So mine, if you're gonna be looking on the 19th Street, all the way down, pretty much all the houses are gonna be between 25 and 30, I'll say. And mine is gonna be like at 20, super close to the sidewalk. I mean, it's just not even gonna look good. If you walk down the sidewalk, my truck is just gonna be sitting in the sidewalk, pretty much.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do I have a motion?
Now, is there anybody here to talk against it? That's why I was asked it. Nobody's stood up. Okay. I make a motion, we approve the variance.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second, please take roll.
Board Member Carroll.
Yes.
Board Member Stamps.
Yes.
Board Member Barker.
No.
Board Member Rich.
No.
Chairman Newbauer.
No.
Motion fails. 3-2.
All right, request letter B.
Item B, case number 1030. It is a major development. The applicant is requesting to develop an 8,000 square foot warehouse within a heavy industrial zoning district. And any development in the heavy industrial zoning district is subject to a major development approval. The owner is C.W. Roberts Contracting Incorporated. The applicant is Scott Relaford of CSR and Associates, Northwest Florida, Inc. The address is 122 Center Avenue, and staff is recommending approval with the condition that a commercial development order shall be issued and the requirements and conditions of approval of the technical review committee are met.
All right, are there any questions from the board for staff? All right. Is the applicant here to speak on this item? Is anyone here to speak on this item?
You can't vote on it, can you?
What's that?
Does somebody have to be here, or is it?
I don't think we ever changed the rule that someone had to be here. That's correct.
believe it was, if I recall, and I'll ask council to correct me if I'm wrong, the board has the option to table it to the next meeting if an applicant is not present.
That's what we
That is correct.
So it's not required, but we have the option.
And staff's recommended to approve it with conditions. What's the conditions?
So the conditions of approval, typically when we have major developments, and this will apply to the next item as well.
Mike, were you trying to say something?
You did pass the resolution.
Yes, we did pass the resolution.
Yeah, so if the applicant isn't there, then you move this to the next meeting to give the applicant an opportunity to hear.
That's what I thought.
Right.
So it's automatic, okay.
Ask Mike, is he saying that it was automatic or is the option of the board?
Well, I think we was automatic because we make the option and then we can choose and pick which ones we want to do and all. I think it's either all of them or none of them. Either you hear the, because isn't that on the application when they take the application? That they have to have somebody here present?
Yes, they are notified.
And if it's, I mean, we can't choose and pick which ones we want to do, just, I think we either, we're going to get ourselves in trouble. I'd rather just say you're not here as what it says on the application.
Well, I think that's what the resolution was automatic.
I think it was automatic.
I don't think we need,
I think-
I don't believe we need to make a motion.
That's,
So the item,
that's just the rules. I mean,
item letter B will be tabled to the November meeting.
Right.
Let's move to item letter C.
Item C is case number 1192. It's also a major development request. The applicant is requesting to develop a 4-story apartment complex. Any commercial development over 3 stories in height is subject to major development approval. The owner is VCP Creekside LLC. The applicant is Matthew Chapman with Panhandle Engineering, and it's located at 1427 West 30th Street.
All right, are there any questions from board for staff?
That's the whole trailer park, right?
yes.
That's correct.
Old trailer park, as you go in Lisenby, it would, okay.
Is the applicant here to speak on this item? Please come forward and state. Good, good. Please come forward and state your name and address, and council will swear you in.
Hi, I'm Doug Crook with Panhandle Engineering.
Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for the applicant?
It's just to make sure I understand, and maybe this is for the staff, this is not a rezoning request, this is exclusively a development request.
Yes.
It's a major development,
development.
yes.
And what will go there will be a lot better than what's there, as far as your eyesight. I mean, you know, not the, but yes.
All right, no questions? Anyone else here to speak on this item? Okay, we're good, thank you. All right, do you have a motion on this item?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, please take roll.
Board Member Carroll.
Yes.
Board Member Stamps.
Yes.
Board Member Barker.
Yes.
Board Member Rich.
Yes.
Chairman Newbauer.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Item letter D.
Item D, case number 1118. It is a small-scale land use amendment and rezoning request. The applicant is requesting a small-scale future land use map amendment and rezoning change from the general commercial and general commercial 1 zoning district to mixed use and mixed use 3 land district, zoning district. The owner is Marco Menzies and Katrina Aline Armenti. The applicant is Katrina Alina Armenti, and the address is 1817 Beck Avenue. Staff recommends the City of Panama City Planning Board transmit recommendation of approval to the City Commission, and the City Commission approve future land use amendment and rezoning request.
Thank you. Is there any questions from board for staff? All right, is the applicant here to speak on this item?
Katerina Elena Armenta, 1714 Montana Avenue, Lynn Haven, Florida.
My name is Marco Armenta.
Address.
The address of the house, we live 1714 Montana Avenue, Lynn Haven. Nervous.
Do they need to be sworn in for this item?
It's not quasi judicial.
Okay. Any questions for applicant from the board?
Well, I'm just curious, what's the purpose of wanting to change it from general back to?
So it's, the property consists of 2 lots, and on one lot, there's a small duplex that was already there. That was the general commercial. However, it always was residential, and there is people living there. And the next lot, for now, it's an empty lot. And that one is mixed use. So we're trying to combine the lots.
Okay.
Is that where the fencing is, where the vehicles are parked? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Is anyone else here to speak on this item? Go ahead.
So, and I have an extra comment. So we had comments come in from underground utility staff after the agenda had already been published. So I want to read the comments from staff into the record. And so the concern from underground utilities is that if there's the lot next door that's not combined, it can interrupt sewer access. So let's say somebody sells the lot adjacent to it, it could cause an interruption in sewer. So there needs to be some type of easement for the sewer. And for the applicant, staff can work with you on that. This is something that we just want to make sure is clear to the board, that this can be worked through during the development order review process. So this is not something that we deemed as worth recommending denial over, as these are issues that can be worked through during the development order review process because they can take time.
And that's on the subject property you're talking about?
1817 back,
would need to
correct.
take place? Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
But you saying that to approve it with conditions?
I think so.
What did you say?
So no, I was just reading it into the record because the agenda was published at, these comments, yes, these comments were received after the agenda had already been published. And so I wanted to read underground utilities comments into the record, but this is something that can be worked on during the development order review process.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second, please take roll.
Board Member Carroll.
Yes.
Board Member Stamps.
Yes.
Board Member Barker.
Yes.
Board Member Rich.
Yes.
Chairman DeBauer.
Yes,
Motion passes 5-0.
thank you. Item letter E.
Item E is case number 1130, and it's a request for annexation, small-scale land use amendment and rezoning. And they're asking to be rezoned from residential Bay County to residential 1 Panama City. The owner is Richard and Bretta Keppel, and the applicant is William Holland. It's located at 3719 Shoreline Circle.
Thank you. Any questions for staff?
I'm sorry, I have one more, similar to the one before, just to make it clear to the board. Again, we received a comment after the agenda was published. And so for this property, for the Shoreline property, underground utilities provide a comment that the subject property does have access to water, but to gain access to sewer, they'll need to install a grinder pump and connect to the force main in the new development being next to them. As you all aware, to the south, there's the newer subdivision that's coming. So there's going to need to be some additional coordination during their development order review process. But again, that's something that can be worked out later on during development review.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Is the applicant here to speak on this item?
Yes.
Richard Keppel, 2302 Pelican Bay Court.
Questions for that? Yeah. So this is annexed to get city utilities, right? So, any questions? All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else here to speak on this item? Do I have a motion?
Do we need to make it conditional to the adherence to the connection requirements, or is that not necessary?
could be done in development.
Yes, it's something that we'll have to work through at the development order review stage anyway. So again, these are just comments that we want to make sure are entered into the record before we move forward to the city commission, just so everyone's aware, the board is aware, and also the applicants are aware.
Okay,
So,
gotcha. Then motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second, please take roll.
Board Member Carroll.
Yes.
Board Member Stamps.
Yes.
Board Member Barker.
Yes.
Board Member Rich.
Yes.
Chairman Newbauer.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Item letter F.
You want to?
oh, yes. So item F is going to be, we're going to ask Stacy Ross, the city engineer, to come up. So we have several staff, different staff that y'all will meet this evening. So it's an exciting evening. But she's going to be presenting 6F. And of course, if you have any questions for development services staff, we're happy to speak as well. But Stacy Ross, with city engineer with the Public Works Department Engineering Division, will be presenting this item.
Yes, hello everyone. I am Stacey Roush. I am the city engineer in the engineering division, like Jawan said. These text changes really came about in the effort to kind of clean up a little inconsistencies that I see just with our code and then across other codes with the beach and with Bay County. So we see a lot of times when people submit some best practices that are suggestions in our review processes, a lot of times they say, it's not in your code, I don't have to do it. We feel like these are items that should not be discretionary. They protect our resiliency of our community to bounce back from storms. It protects us from delayed maintenance by these property owners. It protects us sometimes when it becomes our infrastructure to make sure that it's done correctly. So you'll see in the text changes is primarily centers around stormwater ponds. One of the code changes is to add the 6-inch freeboard requirement, which right now our code does not require any freeboard in ponds, which will allow a pond to stage up to the surface in a 25-year storm. And obviously we know that we have some years where we have heavy rains and we may get a couple 25-year storms back to back, and that causes our ponds to overflow into our parking lots, into our roads. So this 6-inch freeboard is the same requirement as Panama City Beach, so it's not anything new for our engineers in this location. And then we also added the requirement of having to model the 100-year storm to show that your pond does not overtop in a 100-year storm. And that is also the same requirement as Panama City Beach and Bay County. So again, nothing new. It's just an extra requirement in our code to hold these engineers accountable to best practices. One of the other major changes is whenever we accept a road, a developer builds a road for the city and expects the city to take it over. Right now, we're relying on visual inspection, whereas whenever we accept a utility, they have to do certain tests to prove to us that it was installed correctly. When we accept a road, a lot of times we just have to go on visual inspection. Now, that does not always bode well for the city. So one of the major requirements I added were some stipulations of what the engineer and the contractor have to provide to the city to prove to us that they didn't just install it to our standards based on their word. They have to provide some measurable reports that show it was designed to our standard. And then probably the biggest requirement that's added in there is right now the FDOT standards for a new construction road would have the seasonal high water table be 3 feet max or minimum from the bottom of the road base. Now, that has been a suggestion to some of our engineers, especially in our areas of high water table, and they will go closer to the base, and that over time causes a maintenance issue for the city. We have added the suggestion or the requirement for them to go and get approval of myself, the Public Works Director, the city manager, and then once all of those are approved, go to the city commission and get approval for that, because we think the commission should know what kind of maintenance long-term they are committing to by accepting that road.
Are those I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Are those plans required to be provided up front as well as once you get done to verify those results in comparable reports?
Yes, so upfront in the development order is usually when we make the comment of, your water table is less than 3 feet from the bottom of your base. And right now, they can just provide us a modified pavement section, but in this case, it would have to be taken to commission. And then again, at the end, they would have to do a geotechnical study to show us what their road's profile looks like, and then to also show a post-construction seasonal high water table level.
Thank you.
So a couple of questions. So you say you're going to have a test done on a road to make sure it meets its requirements, and you have 2 miles of road. How often do you have to do a test?
So right now in our city standards, when you do geotech on a road, it's every 500 feet or every road segment, whichever is less.
You have to do a test now? It's not in the requirements right now, though, you said.
Yes, if you were to be reconstructing a road in the city, it's in our city standards that you would have to do a geotech.
So what is the test that you said they had to, I thought I heard you say they had to do a thing to certify that they meet the requirements?
Right, so that it's a requirement for reconstruction on our roads, so that would be like if the city was reconstructing the road. We don't have anything for new construction in our codes for them to certify after the fact that it was done correctly. So whenever when you're reconstructing a road, you are finding what the conditions are at that time, and those conditions are not going to change. You're not developing a whole bunch of homes around it. You're just reconstructing the road. When these people come in and do, I'll pick on Sweet Bay because they're completely developed.
Right, putting new roads in.
Right.
Okay.
So say when Sweet Bay came in and they did their initial geotech, there were no homes there. It was just a green site. So now they come in, they put in homes, they put in impervious surface, they put in ponds. It's not unreasonable to think the water table elevation is going to change, and they should have accounted for that in design. So whenever they come back afterwards, they have to do another geotech that shows we accounted for this. It still meets your city standards. There is still a 3-foot separation or more.
Because you're saying that the construction itself can change the water table, and so a
Correct.
pre-construction water table and a post-construction water table may be different in a large-scale development.
Correct, and that's where typical engineering factor of safety would come into play. So we just want them to prove to us that they engineered this correctly and they accounted for that shift. We're not expecting the water table to change 2 feet, but we are expecting, in some cases, especially where we see a lot of wetland development right now, we do expect that there's going to be some shift in the water table, and we don't feel like that is something that we should just have to assume they did. They should be able to prove it.
And you're asking the engineers to provide that up front, that this is how it's going to affect it? I mean,
Up front, they would just provide their design, and then at the end, they would provide the geotech report that shows that what was constructed met their design.
and that's every 500 feet?
Yes, or every road intersection, whichever is less.
Okay, all right.
Does this speak to what happens if they don't meet that acceptance criteria?
We wouldn't accept the road.
Okay.
It could still be a road, but the city would not
City doesn't
accept
take it
it
on.
into their maintenance.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or they would have to fix it if they wanted it accepted, yeah.
Okay.
So actually, on that point, a neighborhood could build the road and maintain it themselves, and it'd still be in compliance, but
Correct.
the city would never be able to accept it should they not
Correct.
meet this requirement.
For example, the Morningside development, we did not accept that road. It is now all HOA owned because it did not meet our criteria.
Is there what's the cost impact on requiring something that from the developer? Do you have any idea?
I do not have that number. I know that in Morningside, they were willing to accept that over the cost of bringing it to city standards. One of the issues in that case is that the road was brought into the city, not owned by us, and they wanted to accept it after they had built all of their homes, and so it was kind of a weird situation. Most of the time up front, we would know which roads would be brought in, and they'd be building them brand new. They wouldn't be trying to get us to accept a 20-year-old road.
I have a question. I hear you talk about 25-year storm and 100-year storm. How y'all determine that?
It's a standard. So the NOAA and FDOT and all of these agencies have these storms already developed. So if you could look up like a 25-year storm, it's broken up into ranges based on which areas see what type of rain. So our area with an FDOT, I have a whole sticky note on my desk that I could tell you each storm duration, but if you said like a 25-year 1-hour storm, you would expect like 2.54 inches of rain. And so each storm would go up obviously in the amount of rain per the duration, but our code right now is based off of a 25-year critical duration, which is a 25-year 8-hour storm. A 25-year storm is a storm that typically occurs once every 25 years. That's just what that verbiage means. Now, Hurricane Michael would have been probably a 200-year storm, for example.
Okay.
You referenced freeboard.
Yes.
Can you just describe what that is in relation to a retention pond?
Absolutely. So freeboard would be, and this would be in a 25-year storm, which is what we model around, which is kind of like a typical storm. And the freeboard would be the top of the water at the peak of that storm. So the highest the water level would get at that storm to the top of the berm around the pond. So that would be essentially your factor of safety.
And right now we don't have that.
Right now it's 0. There is no requirement. Now, I would like to say that 6 inches, when I was on the private sector, 6 inches would be an ideal, design element. I'm seeing anywhere from 1 to 2 inches on a very regular basis being submitted. Now I ask people to supply a 6, but a lot of times I get the comment, that's not what your code says.
Who did you work for in the private sector?
Mott McDonald.
Okay. So you have some knowledge about all this stuff and everything going into it and everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Are these text amendments consistent with the county and Panama City Beach?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And with our comp plan.
And who?
With our comp plan.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Other questions? Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second, please take roll.
Board Member Carroll.
Yes.
Board Member Stamps.
Yes.
Board Member Barker.
Yes.
Board Member Rich.
Yes.
Chairman Newbauer.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Item letter G.
Item G is a request to amend the ULDC of the City of Panama City, specifically amending Chapter 111, Chapter 102, and Chapter 116 of the Unified Land Development Code. So this, and for the record, Juwan Haley, Planning and Zoning Division Manager, Development Services Department. So this text amendment of the ULDC came out of now it's probably about to be 6 months, 5 months. The governor signed into law back on June 20th to amend Section 177.071 of the Florida statutes. And the whole point of this is to streamline the platting process. Now, just to make it clear, what the new legislation requires is that at this point, it is no longer a requirement that plats, and this is specific to subdivision plats, major plats per our code, are no longer required to go before the board, the planning board here, and the city commission. It is now purely an administrative review process. So that is what we are charged. We had to either draft a resolution and bring it before you all in the city commission, or move forward with an ordinance review and bring it before you all in the city commission. And so staff moved forward with providing ordinance. It's cleaner, and we also needed to clarify requirements for lot splits, also known as limited partitions, lot combinations, and lot line readjustments. So if you're making a minor readjustment in between lots, this ordinance aims to streamline and clarify those processes as well. So we have been we established a process for those types of applications, but we wanted to make sure that they were, for the sake of transparency, codified, so everyone's on the same page. So So if you have any questions, I'm fire away, but that is the gist. And so again, the whole point is to streamline, and you know, that you might be thinking, well, if we don't have to see these anymore, then why are you coming to us asking for us to review it? It is because we are amending the code. So we are amending the Unified Land Development Code, and as you know, any amendments to the ULDC, we have to come forward and have you all consider it. So for most details, I'll defer to my staff report. But if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
I think we want to see every lot split application, so.
Is it fair to say this makes the process for a developer more streamlined because
Absolutely.
wait for each?
Absolutely. We anticipate in some of the more frequent applicants that are working with of course, your larger developments, your subdivision developments, they're estimating up to potentially a 60-day relief in some cases, because staff, you know, we have our own timeline, but developers, you know, you have to really be planning ahead for a lot of this stuff in advance in order to hit the deadlines that you need to meet. So staff, of course, it's mandated, but we do support it. We do believe that it will help streamline a lot of our applications, quite frankly. But of course, we're open to any suggestions or edits. But we do believe that the proposed ordinance will better help streamline the subdivision of land, combination of land within the city limits.
So who makes the final decision of whether they're going to pass it or not?
So the process, so currently how this works, and just to provide some additional insight. So in the past, as you all know, you have reviewed subdivision plats in the past. Prior to it even getting to you all, there is a significant amount of staff review. The only difference that's going to change in that process is that the appointed bodies and the elected bodies will no longer be involved. So staff is still going to review, which is why it's important to codify requirements so we have strict guidelines that we can follow to ensure that it's consistent with our codes.
Is it a committee that's going to make the decision?
It's the technical review committee. Yes, the technical review. The technical review committee is actually the same committee that reviews the development orders for subdivision plats. So before a subdivision plat, prior to this legislation being adopted, you have to have a development order for major subdivisions. Now that's still the case. But the plat would need to go through, you know, to the planning board and to the city commission. Now you have the option of having your subdivision development order and your subdivision plat reviewed concurrently if that's what the developer would like to do. So the technical review committee is comprised of, as far as development services is concerned, everyone you see right here, City Engineer Stacey Rouse, she's left, but she's also on the committee. So it's staff, it's a staff committee. It's made up of staff members who review development. So it's something that we've already been doing, and we'll just continue to do the jobs that we were charged with doing prior to the legislation. And that's also, and we make it clear to define all of that. So that's why definitions needed to change. So that's clear as well.
Questions? All right. Questions, comments? All right. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion second. Please take roll.
Board Member Carroll. Board Member Carroll.
Yes.
Board Member Stamps.
Yes.
Board Member Barker.
Yes.
Board Member Rich.
Yes.
Chairman Newbauer.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Item under H. Honestly, we can do
All right, item H, because we don't have our slides at the moment, but item 6H is a text amendment to section 103-2C of the Unified Land Development Codes, which amends the process of appointing members to the planning board. The requested amendment, which comes to us from the city commission, will allow each commissioner and the mayor to appoint one member to the planning board. Those appointments will then run concurrently with the commissioner's term. This is an amendment to the Unified Land Development Code, which requires review and consideration by the planning board. Furthermore, the request provides that the planning board planning board members continue to serve for 120 days or 4 months, or until reappointed or replaced by the commission. Happy to answer any questions.
You getting rid of us?
How many of us are out of zone, as you would say, out of
Well, who's
district?
who's in the name of commission? Who's in Robbie Hughes' zone?
All three of us.
I think, yeah, there's three members. And
I think it was me anyway. There's three of us. And whose zone are y'all in?
I'm in Brian Granger's.
Brian Granger?
I'm Janice Lucas.
Okay.
I think the only ward not to have a planning board member is, Josh Street's ward.
Josh Street, yep.
3?
St. Andrews.
St. Andrews, yeah. So,
Is it meant to say that the commissioner in that ward would appoint someone directly or required within their ward, or are they able to appoint anyone within the city? It's just at their discretion.
it's at their discretion. They can appoint somebody outside their ward if they so choose.
And the process right now is someone would need to apply, and then the discussion among the city
Yes.
commissioners, and then it would be voted
It's
on.
like a collective decision among all the commissioners. Whereas this one, the Bay County commissioners appoint planning board members the same way.
So they do it by ward or whatever area they geographic.
But they don't have a mayor of the county, do they?
No, they have a chairman.
So the chairman get to appoint one, or the mayor get to
The
appoint?
mayor gets to appoint
Yeah, the
one as well.
mayor counts as a commissioner. I do think in section 2, it should reference section 7 per vacancies, because it kind of leaves it there, and then I feel like it should say as identified in section 7, just my personal opinion.
Say that one more time.
I think section 2 at the very end, it says any vacancy in membership shall be filled for an unexpired term by the city commission. But I feel like it should reference section 7, which is vacancies, on how that process works that way.
Gotcha.
That's just my opinion on it. And then in section 5, at the very end of section 5, it says, it's talking about a vote of at least 3 members necessary to make a favorable recommendation. And if somebody is missing from that, it says that it requires a concurring vote of majority. So I assume if we have 4 people, that still means that we'd have to have 3, correct?
All other actions shall require.
That's just talking about the quorum, yes. So since you're a 5-member board, it requires 3 for a quorum
Yeah,
at
if we
any
had 4.
time.
Okay.
Yeah, and this language wasn't ever changed. This language is actually in the Land Development Code right now. Only the underlying language is added.
Am I correct to assume that if we only had 3 people present, that we would still have to have 3 votes to pass in that case?
No, I mean, it would be majority vote. So
Okay.
if you had 3 members present, it's majority vote.
Okay, I just want to make sure I read that section correctly.
Is there any way that the members that's here can serve out their term before this takes effect?
Actually, I believe there are currently 3 members whose terms are up or about to come up currently.
Well, I'm getting at, if you got 3 here from the same district, are they gonna come out at the same time?
It's not appointed by ward. So this change would make it appointed by commissioner. And commissioner could choose someone that doesn't live in their ward to be appointed. And all this is saying right now is that your terms would run concurrently with the commissioner that appointed you. And so this is consistent with how the county does it. And it also provides that once this ordinance is adopted, then the commissioners will have 120 days to either reaffirm you or appoint you. But each one will pick a member to appoint.
So if a commissioner appoints somebody, then that person's on, then doesn't have to go through the other commissioners, is that correct? So-
That's correct. It would be
And
each.
Why is this a better plan?
I'm not a commissioner, I cannot answer that.
I'm just curious, I mean, why is this a better plan? I mean, I'm just trying to, why is it a better mousetrap? It seems like there's less accountability. I mean, I had an interview with all 5 city commissioners. And, you had to kind of make sure that they felt like you were competent to do it. I mean, if I am a city commissioner, I can point, what's the name over here? And I talked to another commissioner and I said, hey, why don't you point them? I mean, it seems like you can kind of, I mean, it would kind of be a relief. I talked to Ray Dubuque about that, who's been on there 24 years, and he thinks it's a bad idea. Just because the longer you're on the board, I'm not saying you want to stay on it because, we don't get paid a whole lot. But when did we get a raise? But I think you lose some of the knowledge because, I mean, a lot of these land changes and stuff, it's not the easiest stuff to try to, learn and read it. And if the city commissioner, there's what, 4 years?
Yes,
4 years and then.
except for the mayor.
The mayor is every 2
years. So the mayor appoints somebody, get a new mayor, for instance, whatever. But I don't know.
Well, and I do think there is a bit of an accountability reference here. It says any member may be removed by a majority vote of the city commission with or without cause. So even if an appointee is made and maybe they're just not a good fit, that the other commissioners can still, I assume, take a vote to say that planning board member.
You don't carry it on the back end and not on the front end.
I guess my question, I guess, would be the execution of that. Is it, let's say we have 3 members up for reappointal, which 3 commissioners are choosing the first 3 members, or is it just kind of up for them to maybe decide an order of how that works?
It's going to be all of them.
Once this is adopted, each one will make an appointment.
Potentially, the board could be wiped in 5 new members, or they would
Potentially,
designate who they
yes.
would want as the-
Now, we haven't heard that, just so you know. Let's not spread that rumor, but yes.
No, yeah, but in general, this restarts it.
Yes.
It's not like just the 3 new.
Correct. You restart, and then you would, and some of the commissioners are within a term, so it would be for their term, and if they get reelected, they would reappoint whoever that board member is.
Well, I agree with him, this could be harrowing because it's not an easy thing coming up here and being planning board member because of the regulation that changes so often. And if you're gonna change every year, because every time somebody gets reelected, you put more pressure on staff, put more pressure on the people that's up here.
I think the idea originally was that having equal representation amongst the wards was kind of the gist of where it came from, my understanding of it. So
I think to some extent, staff's always trying to.
I can see that if we were elected, but, being appointed is a little different than being elected.
being able to
They gotta
pick
get a majority
people
of
from
they gotta
their
vote
area.
to just point one person that he wants to point. And
Do they have to,
I'd be more happy.
when they appoint someone, does it have to be affirmed at that time by the rest of the commissioners anyway?
It will be. The idea is it'll be appointed at a city commission meeting, so.
And so they-
And they're just affirmed.
Either way, you're gonna have 2 people from the same district anyway, because the mayor's gonna appoint somebody. He doesn't have a district. So he's gonna appoint somebody from somebody's gonna have 2 from the same districts anyway. So,
Yeah, that's why it wasn't based on district, it's just based on commissioner.
yeah, you could have all 5 people from the same
Yeah.
board. So
I mean,
You can't do that.
it's just who they pick.
They're not obligated to pick from their
Yeah,
ward.
they can appoint anybody that lives in the city, but they have to be a city resident.
yes, the only obligation is that you're a city resident.
didn't think we were picking on St. Andrews.
Came up with this morning.
Came from the commission.
Yeah, I don't think we have to vote on this. I think we're being told, aren't we? All right, do I have a motion? No motion?
I don't see how.
Happy the way it is.
I guess we have to take a vote, huh? Either way.
I'll take a motion to approve or deny.
I'll make a motion to approve it then.
Yeah, that's fine. I will second Karen's motion.
All right, now a motion second, please take roll.
Board Member Carroll.
No.
Board Member Stamps.
Yes.
Board Member Barker.
No.
Board Member Rich.
Yes.
Chairman Newbauer.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-2.
Chairman Newbauer, this was a public hearing, so if the members of the public did want to speak,
Oh,
it would be appropriate to.
Is anyone here to
Yeah.
speak on this item? Seeing none, motion carried.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
item-
You're welcome.
letter I.
All right. Item 6I is another proposed text amendment to the Land Development Code. This one would allow or amend the allowable density in mixed-use 2 or MU2 zoning district as provided in section 104-31A3. Simply, the requested amendment would change the allowable density from 10 dwelling units per acre to 12 dwelling units per acre. The proposed amendment is consistent with the comprehensive plan, which allows up to 20 units per acre in the mixed-use, future land use categories. MU3 currently allows the maximum of 20 units per acre, so it's probably good to have some separation there. But overall, I don't think it's going to have a huge impact to increase the allowable density from 10 to 12. And I'm happy to answer any questions. We have a,
So right now, mixed use is 10,
correct.
mixed use 2, I mean,
Yes, MU2 allows up to 10.
and MU3 is 20.
That's correct.
And is what we're seeing on the screen, the dark yellow would be the currently zoned MU2 throughout the city?
Yeah, we put this picture together to kind of show you, where MU2 zoning districts were in proximity to like single family or R1. You can see there are some areas where MU2 is pretty close to R1, but
And what is R1? That's R1.
that's single family.
Yeah, but I know what it is, but I mean, how many per
Units per acre,
It's 10.
it's 10.
10 units per acre?
Yeah.
On R1?
Practicality doesn't work very often.
Is that
In practice, I don't think you hardly ever can get 10 acre,
No.
10 acres an acre.
Right.
Single R1.
And I guess just context, what's the reason for increasing it by 2 units per acre?
Well, it actually came up during a commission meeting where a rezoning was being considered that would rezone something from MU2 to MU3. Basically, so this guy could build a duplex on his property. And if the allowable density in MU2 was increased just a little bit, to like 12 units per acre,
It's more common.
he'd be able to do a duplex on his property without having to rezone it.
Is it reasonable to say that this increase actually helps to protect a lower density because you're not having to jump up to 30?
I would say yes.
You get a
Yes.
little incremental
Yeah.
to fit, probably a more broader strip rather than giving anybody kind of free reign to say, hey, you can go up to 20 or 30.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Has 10 to 12 been an ongoing issue, or is that just a one-time thing that came up?
That's just a one-time
I think
thing.
it was the person that we turned down with it. Or was it him? that
Well, it's
came-
recording the spot.
And the reason, there was a person we had turned down for that, and so I'm just wondering if that was when he went to the board that something that came out. I mean, I don't know.
Do you remember?
So what that mean?
I think 10 was kind of arbitrary too.
Yeah.
Well, we've had these, of course, we've dealt with this, not necessarily with density, but with R1 and R2, with, lot size, just trying to readjust instead of trying to figure out ways kind of maximize our code rather than, people having to constantly come back and ask for these jumps, because I'm sure there are a lot of, we believe staff, and it's a quick analysis, we can't give you hard numbers, that this could help a lot of people automatically come into compliance. So think about all the time and money saved and resources with just 2-unit jump. So we think it's reasonable. Staff believes this increase is reasonable. We don't believe that it's overkill in any way, shape, or form, and we think it could help not just this property, but a lot of properties around the city. So.
Is anyone here from the audience that wishes to speak on this item? See none, do I have a motion?
Motion approved.
A second.
Motion second, please take roll.
Board Member Carroll.
Yes.
Board Member Stamps.
Yes.
Board Member Barker.
Yes.
Board Member Rich.
Yes.
Chairman DeBauer.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Can we reduce residential to 8? Can we get any more of it?
Item letter J.
That'd be a commissioner question.
You want to introduce it?
Yes. Planning board members, for our last item, item 1346, we have Michelle Zirkle with the Community Redevelopment Agency, CRA, and she will be presenting the Community Redevelopment Amendments and Comprehensive Plan updates for your consideration this evening.
Good evening. Michelle Zirkle with Community Redevelopment Agency. We're here today to ask the Planning Board to review our proposed amended comprehensive plan updates for consistency with the city's adopted comprehensive plan of 2018 and determine that it is consistent with applicable goals, objectives, and policies across the key comprehensive plan elements. And we just need to know if you approve and provide that approval to the City Commission, or if you have recommendations, which we would then need to be provided to our legal counsel within 60 days.
Questions? Still, anyone have questions for staff? People rereading it.
It's a lengthy read.
Is there any highlights you'd like to point out? Or?
There is. We cite several goals and objectives and policies that are consistent with certain elements in the staff report. It's nothing too detailed because for the most part, community redevelopment plans are vague in order to allow a lot of different opportunities and programs. But if you look in the staff report, like for example, the coastal element one, that's like one of the shortest ones. So let me pull that out for you. It just says that we're going to make sure to, keep it access, linking waterfront areas to community amenities by stimulating the economic activity through revitalization projects. And those actions demonstrate the city's commitment to ongoing waterfront redevelopment efforts and are consistent with the coastal management goals and objectives in the comprehensive plan. And we cite all of the key elements that are within the plan.
And so what's the next step after the discussion and vote today? You said it goes to the City Commission?
It does. It would go to City Commission for approval, and we have 2 ordinance readings that have to happen in order to finalize that for approval. These do get done every 5 years, so we have not done this in about 15 years. So, yeah.
Any questions? Yeah. Is anyone else here who wants to speak on this item? Any discussion? Do I have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion second. Please take roll.
Board Member Carroll.
Yes.
Board Member Stamps.
Yes.
Board Member Barker.
Yes.
Board Member Rich.
Yes.
Chairman Newbauer.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Any non-action items? No non-action
We have
items?
none. We don't have anything.
None.
Audience participation for our agendas. Anyone wish to address the
Do I
board?
need to hand this to the person that takes my spot?
Not seeing none. It's adjourned.
Are these books ours?